Praise be to God, there is no other God except God. As most of you know by now, some bad-intentioned outsiders are so desperate to discredit me, so they will seek anything which seems like a contradiction between me and Rashad, and then claim that I contradict Rashad. And then, on the other hand, they say that they believe in the previous messengers. But do they? The very fact that the seeming contradictions between me and Rashad are an unsurpassable stumbling block for them, it proves that they do not believe in any of the previous messengers either, because the seeming contradictions between the previous messengers are by far bigger. So before I address the seeming contradictions between me and Rashad, let me first remind them about the bigger seeming contradictions between the previous messengers. For example, Moses did not work during Saturday, while Muhammad did work during Saturday. Did Muhammad contradict Moses? Joseph invited the children of Israel from Palestine to Egypt, while Moses led them in the opposite direction, from Egypt to Palestine. Did Moses contradict Joseph? In the Bible, Jesus drank wine, but Muhammad did not drink wine. Did Muhammad contradict Jesus? Abraham paid 10% zakat, while Muhammad paid 2.5% zakat. Did Muhammad contradict Abraham? All previous prophets fasted, but not necessarily during Ramadan. Muhammad fasted during Ramadan. Did Muhammad contradict the previous prophets? Noah did not do the contact prayers, while Abraham did the contact prayers. Did Abraham contradict Noah? Moses asked his people to kill each other, and then in another time he asked them not to kill each other. Did Moses contradict himself? Moses, David, and Solomon did not do Hajj in Mecca, but Muhammad did Hajj in Mecca. Did Muhammad contradict Moses, David, and Solomon? Moses was given miracles as a sign of his message, but Joseph was only given future predictions. Did Joseph contradict Moses? Abraham sacrificed a sheep. Moses sacrificed a cow. Aaron sacrificed a goat. And Muhammad sacrificed a camel once. Did they contradict one another? Muhammad told us that he doesn't know when the end of the world will come. But Rashad said that he knows when the end of the world will come. Did Rashad contradict Muhammad? Muhammad said that he was the last prophet, but then Rashad said that Muhammad was not the last messenger. Did Rashad contradict Muhammad? The previous messengers told their people not to sleep with their wives during the nights of fasting, while Muhammad allowed his people to sleep with their wives during the nights of fasting. Did Muhammad contradict the previous messengers? And you know what? In the case of Muhammad, there are seeming contradictions between Muhammad and himself. First, Muhammad prayed facing Jerusalem, and then he prayed facing Mecca. Did the later Muhammad contradict the earlier Muhammad? First, he considered mobilization or organization unnecessary, and then he considered mobilization or organization obligatory. Did the later Muhammad contradict the earlier Muhammad? First, he said, don't pray while drunk, and then he said, don't drink at all. Did the later Muhammad contradict the earlier Muhammad? First, he paid the dowry before marriage, and later he said that he himself could get married without giving a dowry. Did the later Muhammad contradict the earlier Muhammad? First, he asked for no money in Mecca, but later he collected money to build a mosque in Medina. Did the later Muhammad contradict the earlier Muhammad? First, he said that believers can defeat 10 times as many disbelievers. But then he said that believers can defeat twice as many disbelievers. Did the later Muhammad contradict the earlier Muhammad? First, he told the people in Mecca to simply be charitable individually, but then in Medina, he made sure to collect it and distribute it. Did the later Muhammad contradict the earlier Muhammad? First, he united with the Christians against the idol worshippers in Mecca, and then in Medina, he united with the Medinans against the Christians and the idol worshippers. Did the later Muhammad contradict the earlier Muhammad? So the seeming contradictions between Muhammad in Mecca and Muhammad in Medina, or Muhammad and Jesus, or Muhammad and Abraham, or Moses and Abraham, or Joseph and Moses, or Noah and Abraham, or Adam and Noah, or between any two messengers of the past, are by far much bigger than the seeming contradictions between Rashad and me. Rashad and I are so similar that God mentioned us together with one go on the same verse. So if anyone thinks that they have a reason to reject me because they think that I'm contradicting Rashad, then by that same logic, they should reject the previous messengers of the past. They actually do reject the messengers of the past by rejecting me, but they don't know. The difference between what I say and what Rashad says is like the difference between grain-fed sheep and grass-fed sheep. But they are both sheep. But the difference between what the other messengers of the past said is like the difference between sheep and goats and cows and camels and rams and bulls, and any of these sacrifices are acceptable to God. And of course, all these seeming contradictions between any two messengers have an explanation and a good reason. And God willing, I will explain the past ones in another video. But in this video, let me just address the ones between me and Rashad. There are mainly three seeming contradictions between me and Rashad. First, the times of contact prayers. People claim that Rashad believed in 5 prayers per day while I don't. But it's not true. I believe in the same number of prayers per Quranic day and night as Rashad did. And I proved this issue in my other video titled, Does Alban contradict Rashad about the times of prayer? And if you watch that video, you will see that it is not true that there is a difference between me and Rashad regarding the times of prayer. Okay, now the second issue, proofs of messengers. People claim that Rashad brought proof about his messengership, while I do not, according to them. But this again is not true. The truth is, I did not bring proof and Rashad did not bring proof. I am supported with proof from God and Rashad was supported with proof from God. I show proof and he showed proof. So again, it's not true that there is a difference between me and Rashad when it comes to bringing proof or being supported with proof as messengers. I proved this in my other video titled, Does Alban contradict Rashad about proofs of messengers? Now the third issue, zakat. People claim that I do not do zakat exactly like Rashad. The truth is that Rashad, the messenger, and Rashad, the Tucson imam, had differences about this issue themselves. But for a good reason, and I'm simply siding with Rashad the messenger, while some outsiders are siding with Rashad the Tucson imam, even though Rashad is not their imam today. But I completely do the zakat exactly as Rashad the messenger said it should be done. And it came to us without change from the time of Muhammad. So again, there is absolutely no difference between the way I do zakat and the way Rashad the messenger said that we should do zakat. And I proved this in my other video titled, Does Alban contradict Rashad about zakat? And these are all the three main seeming contradictions between Rashad, the messenger, and me. And if you watch those 3 videos where I address these 3 issues, you can see that they are completely made up contradictions. They don't exist. But evil-intentioned people might twist the facts and mention them to you as contradictions if they think that you don't know these issues, to try to divert you from God's path. And this has been consistently the case throughout history. Whenever a messenger preached something to his generation, they accused him that he is contradicting what the previous messenger said. And they clearly used this as an excuse not to believe, because had the messenger said exactly what the previous messenger said, then they would again reject him by saying that he's copying him. But if he said something which sounded different, they again rejected him by saying he's contradicting him. Guys, make up your mind. Should the new messenger say what the previous messenger said? Or should he say something else? Because whichever way he goes, they will use it as an excuse to reject him. And the Jews and the Christians use the same tricks against Muhammad. Whenever he said something which was in the Bible also, they said, see, he's copying it from the Bible. He's not receiving a revelation from God. But whenever he said something which was not in the Bible, they said this is not in the Bible, which is why we cannot accept it. Make up your mind, guys. Should the Quran be like the Bible or not? And should I say exactly what Rashad said or not? And the reality is that some things which I say sound like what Rashad said, and other things which I say sound different from Rashad. And for the things where I sound like Rashad, they say that I'm just copying him. And for the things where I sound different, they say that I cannot possibly be right because that's not what Rashad said. You are contradicting Rashad. And by the way, the groups of people who are falsely accusing me for contradictions with Rashad are exactly the people who have caused the appearance of those contradictions. Let me give you just one example. Rashad published the video Essentials of Islam, where he told the world as God's messenger how zakat should be done. And then in another video, as the Tucson imam, he said something else for his local congregation. Now, during his time, you could order his video Essentials of Islam, but his Friday sermon, where he talks about zakat, you could not order it. It was not available for the worldwide public. However, after he left this world, the people who happened to live closer to him got their hands on those videotapes, and then when the internet was invented, they published them on the internet. But when they did that, they made mistakes because they published both of Rashad's videos as a messenger and his videos as an imam under the same section. In their web pages, and they have more than a dozen of web pages due to jealousy towards each other, they published the videos under the same section together. And now that is causing the appearance of a contradiction, because now people are giving the same religious authority to both types of videos, for example. And then if you have to go with the videos which Rashad spoke as a messenger, today sometimes they say something different from the other videos. And then they accuse you that you have gone against Rashad the messenger, because to them all his videos have the same authority, because their leaders have put all the videos under the same section in their web pages. So the wrong ordering and arrangement of those videos, which they themselves did, are causing the appearance of a contradiction between me and Rashad. Otherwise, it wouldn't even appear that me and Rashad have contradictions. So they themselves caused the appearance of that contradiction with the wrong arrangement of videos, and now they are using it against me. I have no disagreement with Rashad's videos as a messenger. I only have disagreements with how people after him arranged his videos when they published them. They even changed the contents of the videos to hopefully cause the contradictions between the two types of videos to disappear. It's a fact, but that's another issue. But in our webpage, for example, I published Rashad the messenger's videos under the section clarifications without changing anything, and I published his other Friday sermon videos under the section Friday sermons without changing anything. And people are aware from the start what they are dealing with. So I kept and published Rashad's materials, just like hundreds of other people have done, because it's easy and helpful to do that. But the difference is that I arranged them correctly in their proper sections, and with that arrangement, you cannot find any contradiction between Rashad the messenger and me. And they think that they are protecting the popularity of Rashad by rejecting me. Just like the Jews thought that they are protecting the popularity of Moses by rejecting Jesus. They didn't want the popularity of Jesus to overshadow the popularity of Moses. But in fact, had it not been for Jesus and the spread of Christianity, most of the world would not even know that Moses existed. Judaism is such a small religion. People know about Moses mostly from the spread of Christianity and Islam, and not from the Jews themselves. In the same way, more people in the world will hear about Rashad because of me, than there will be people who will hear about me because of hearing about Rashad. And you know what? The similarity between me and Rashad trumps and destroys any seeming contradiction which the disbelievers might invent. And that similarity is that the fact that we both preach the worship of God alone. Rashad told you to worship God alone. I tell you to worship God alone. And despite the fact that they invent lies about us, God will eventually make us and the believers with us the winners, because we preach the worship of God alone. God supports those who support Him.